Ban Ki-moon expresses concern over the assaults targeting religious sanctities and men of religion in Syria. Our armed forces continue to maintain control on various parts in Aleppo, Idlib and Damascus suburbs, destroying terrorist hideouts. Amidst an international popular and official participation, the memorial service for former South African leader and freedom fighter Nelson Mandela takes place in Johannesburg. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Yarado Krikorian with the news in English. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has expressed deep concern over the deliberate attacks on religious sanctities in Syria and the representatives of the Church. He also called for maintaining the safety of the kidnapped nuns of Taqla Convent in Maalula. In a statement posted at the website of the UN News Center today, Ki-moon expressed the UN rejection of targeting people on the basis of their religion or ethnic identity. The statement pointed out that the UN Secretary General joins all appeals to maintain the safety of the nuns and all the kidnapped in Syria, referring to the necessity to protect civilians in Syria. On the other hand, the UN expressed extreme annoyance over the targeting of worshipping places and men of religion in Syria, asserting that those fears have recently increased after kidnapping 12 nuns of Taqla Convent in Maalula. In Damascus suburbs, the Syrian armed forces targeted terrorists in Al-Dumair, the southern parts of Al-Kharnouba hill and the northern and eastern farms, destroying a number of cars and killing the terrorists therein. The Syrian Arab army also killed gunmen and destroyed their vehicles in Al-Mughar mountain east of Al-Arhaybe, eliminating their gatherings in the surroundings of the Electricity Institute in Adra. The Syrian Arab army has completely eliminated armed terrorist groups and destroyed their cars loaded with weapons and ammunition in the towns and villages of Aleppo Governorate. A large number of terrorists were killed or wounded in As-Sukkari, Al-Zbaydiyeh, Salah ad-Din and Al-Haydariyeh neighborhoods, as well as the youth's housing complex in Al-Ashrafiyeh district. The Syrian Arab army units also destroyed terrorist hideouts in the villages of Sheikh Said, Al-Layramoun, the surroundings of Aleppo Central Prison and the vicinity of Al-Kindi Hospital. In Idlib, the Syrian Arab army has also eliminated terrorist groups in Sarmin and Nahla in Ariha suburbs and destroyed a number of cars loaded with arms and ammunition. The Spanish Mundo Daily has declared that its correspondent Javier Espinosa and cameraman Ricardo Garcia Villanova were kidnapped in the governorate of Al-Raqqa near the borders with Turkey on the 16th of last September by the Qaeda-linked so-called Islamic State of Iraq and Levant organization. The Daily added that both journalists were getting ready to leave Syria after 2 weeks of press work. The French Atlantico website had disclosed on the 22nd of last month that 16 foreign journalists were either detained or missing in Syria, referring to the responsibility of the so-called the Islamic State of Iraq and Levant organization and other terrorist groups for the kidnapping of foreign journalists in the country. Syrian Arab units succeeded in eliminating the armed terrorist groups which were stationed in Al-Nabak of Damascus countryside.
Residents of Al-Nabak spoke about the criminal acts which were committed by the terrorists, including sniping, burning and destruction of the houses and private properties. As part of the combing operations carried out by the Syrian Arab Army after expelling all the terrorists from the town, army units were able to defuse a number of explosive devices planted by the terrorists in the houses of the citizens. The army units also seized a number of heavy machine guns which were used by the terrorists against civilians. Army units destroyed as well the sand barriers which were used by the terrorists to carry out their sniping against civilians. Also, a terrorist hideout was seized with all weapons and ammunition inside, including rocket-propelled grenades and missiles, as well as a large quantity of ammunition and a large number of explosive devices. Furthermore, Syrian Arab Army killed a number of terrorists who were trying to flee away by several vehicles equipped with heavy machine guns. Meanwhile, army units continued to chase the terrorists and to found their hideouts in the farms of Rima.
Welcome back. The Iranian Foreign Ministry has said the embargo imposed on Tehran has started to crack, pointing out that the Iranian negotiations are trying to remove the embargo and establish Iran's right to uranium enrichment on Iranian territories. The Iranian Foreign Ministry's spokeswoman, Mardia Afkham, who said this, added that the embargo on Iran was unjust and that the final declared step should end all the embargoes imposed on the country. Afkham added that the embargo had had no effect on Iranian scientists in the past years, and Iran would resort to diplomatic means and legal action to reinstitute the Iranian people's right to possess nuclear technology. As chaos continued in Libya, a security source said that there are people who tend to buy ammunition and weapons which are already stolen by the armed militias from the airbase in the area of Brak Beach south of Tripoli and smuggle them into Syria in order to support the armed terrorist groups there. The source confirmed that the ruling authorities in Libya know and keep silent about those people. The source pointed out that explosions that take place in the storehouses of weapons near the airbase of Brak Beach are all contrived and carried out by people belonging to the armed militias in the region. Finally, presidents and prime ministers, celebrities and royals joined tens of thousands of South Africans to pay tribute to Nelson Mandela in a memorial service in soccer stadium city of Johannesburg, celebrating the global symbol of reconciliation. Among the participants there was the US President Barack Obama, the French François Hollande, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, and the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. With this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to latest business and market news with Nariman Qassam, but after a short break.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. The General Establishment of Cotton Marketing has estimated the delivered quantities of cotton since the beginning of this year to be 36,000 tons, adding that the delivered quantities on Sunday exceeded 994,000 tons. The establishment also asserted that its centers are still receiving cotton from farmers, despite the obstacles that face them as a result of the terrorist acts. The General Company of Water has issued a decision to reduce the prices of the company's products by 7% and granting a 3% discount rate for clients. The director of the company asserted that this decision came in order to expand the marketing activity of the company to reach all consumers in affordable and competitive prices. The chairman of the plant production department at the Agricultural Directorate in Homs asserted that the total areas cultivated with wheat have reached about 12,000 hectares, while the areas cultivated with barley amount to 9,000 hectares. The Directorate's plan for the current agricultural season includes an estimated area of 113 and 88,000 hectares. Brent crude oil rose towards $110 a barrel today, recouping some of the previous session's sharp losses, as data from China reaffirmed signs of stabilizing growth and fuel demand in the world's second largest oil consumer. The Nikkei stock average has dropped up 0.3%, pulling back from a one-week high as investors booked gains before the year end, though Japan's benchmark was still on track for its best yearly performance since 1972. Gold edged up to a near one-week high today, but trading was subdued as investors turned their attention to a U.S. Federal Reserve policy meeting next week. Spot gold has risen 0.4% to reach $1,245 an ounce. The euro stayed well bid today, scaling a 5-year high on the yen and a 6-week peak against the dollar as expectations for further stimulus from the European Central Bank continued to fade. Ladies and gentlemen, this was our economic news for today. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.